Hi guys, it's Lost Xeno here, and I want to talk to you today about the relic step, particularly the steps added in patch 5.45 after the hotfix. So if anyone's going to come and tell me that Castrum's bad, just remember this is after the hotfix is when Castrum became somewhat good. The first thing I want to talk about is obviously the step where we need to move into Castrum. You have to do Castrum before you can start any of these steps. In all things considered, it's not the worst thing right now, but I'm definitely looking to the future. Endwalker, when we end up in the 12th expansion, Daybreak or whatever, how easy is it going to be able to get a Castrum clear done? Now, hopefully, usually what Square Enix do is in the patch, the point 1 patch, they make the relic steps, the previous relic steps easier, so they might. And my hope is that they remove Castrum, or they make Castrum so easy that you can go through with 8 players. That's my hope for that. Now, obviously, after that is Lonesome Memories. This is your Crystal Tower or your Boja step. Again, you can, as always, you can pick between the two. And I must say, with this whole relic tier, definitely nice being able to choose which way I go instead of having to do one way. But in terms of doing it, we've obviously got the Crystal Tower series. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan that they made it. The Crystal Tower series is the one you actually have to grind, the one you would grind out, because we get it so much in Alliance Raid Roulette anyway, with between people item level cheesing and people just not being high enough level on the characters, trying to actually get some leveling done. I really wish this would have been a Havensward step. I know there's probably some people going there, well, I hate the Havensward Alliance raids, and the problem is I don't see them outside of what, like, I've been playing the game on and off for about 5 or 6 years, and I've been playing since Havensward itself. I didn't do the Alliance raids then, but on the particular character I use for recording, I have seen the Havensward Alliance raids maybe 5 times in about 2 years, and that is doing at least once a week. Like, that's insane to me. But other than that, it seems fine. If you're going to queue for a Sicrus Tower, I'm sure there's other people who've told you that Sicrus Tower is the fastest. But obviously the other option is going into Bajor. I'm sorry if I say Bajor instead. It just reminds me of Deep Space Nine. Please tell me I'm not the only one who does that. But jump into Bajor, do critical engagements and do Castrum runs. It's the critical engagements, obviously, that drop it. It's not, and they're random chance. It feels about 25%. I've looked around, and most people are saying around the 25% mark. I might be mistaken about that, but it's definitely around the 20-25% mark. With the hotfix being 25%, it feels great. Before then, felt horrid. I would only do Crystal Tower for that. But with that and the Castrum update, we're definitely looking at being roughly the same speed in terms of memories per minute or memories per hour, however you want to look at it. There is another method that you can do that could possibly be even quicker, and that is instance hopping. You literally jump into Bajor. How long till the next Castrum run? If it's 5 minutes, you stay in there and hope you get into the Castrum run, and then you either hop out. If you get into your Castrum run, do it, you get your 5, move on, you hop out the instance. If you get into an instance, or you don't get into your Castrum run and it's like 40 minutes before the next, 40 minutes plus, you just literally hop back out, go back to the guy, say, well, I want to go back into Bajor, and hope you get into another distance and keep doing it until you get into your Castrum. That's probably the absolute fastest, but it's down to personal preference, and you can do a mix of it. Personally, I would do just standard Bajoran and hope I end up in Castrum runs when they pop. But at the same time, I'm in FC, I've got a group of mates I can talk to on Discord while I do it, and I definitely think that if I had to do them all solo, I'd probably end up just doing Crystal Tower runs, just because they're the most fun for me by myself. With the Lonesome Memories, Bajor can be great fun running around on a white mage hitting your blood lilies for almost 90k in 430 gear, great fun. But yeah, let's get sidetracked. Other than that, so with this method it's fairly even by the feels of it, which is definitely good. I definitely didn't want one to be faster than the other, although if I had to pick one to be faster than the other, it would definitely be the Bajoran content, because that is the content that is for Relic. Anyway, right then, so the next step is the step you have to do, you only have to do it once. It's getting 2 sets of memories, one from Havensward or the Girabanian region fates, and then the Stormblood Alliance raids and the Far Eastern Zone fates. Again, mix, great, love that. Before the hotfix, honestly, the fates felt horrid. And I have a little story about them, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. Moving forward, though, with the hotfix, they feel great now. I would probably say fates are probably faster, all things considered, considering it feels about, again, a 25% drop rate. Again, I haven't checked the exact numbers, but it's all going to be more down to feeling when it comes to doing stuff with random chance, because you might get lucky and get 6 in a row, you might get really unlucky and do 30 without any, which actually happened to me after the hotfix. It was horrid. But in terms of actually doing the fates, I think the fates would be faster. In terms of the alliance raids, it's the first one of each series, because they don't have the Lotar problem, or where you keep teleporting back to the start and then running to the next boss. You just keep running through. It doesn't feel too bad. Again, I'm glad they've got the alliance raids, because it means I'm going to hopefully see more variety in my alliance raids when I'm queuing for them in alliance raid roulette. But at the same time, I might get nothing at all. Might just end up in Crystal Tower again. Hallelujah. Like I said earlier, I would have preferred what I would have preferred, because I wouldn't probably change the final step, but realistically what I preferred is the first step, instead of Crystal Tower, it was Havensward Alliance raids, and then this one-off step was the Stormblood Alliance raids and fates, and also the number is 36. It's 36 Alliance raids / 36 successful quote-unquote fates where you get the drops. That's a lot. Now, it is a one-off step, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but at the same time, it's very much a case of, well, what do I really want to do that? 36 is a lot. So I think if I had the Yoshi P and I could sit there and tell him, you need to change this, I would reduce the amount you need to do, and I would make it Stormblood only, but at the same time, I've already made the change where it's Havensward we're doing for the first step, because I want more people in there. In terms of actually getting people into content, it feels fine. I love the Stormblood Alliance raid series. I love the Havensward Alliance raid series. It's really fun being in there again and actually having a reason to be there. The Fate drop rate, again, doesn't seem bad now. The only problem I had was during the Far East ones. So basically what happened is, after the hotfix dropped, I went and did the ones in Girabania, and I did them in the locks, and there was very easy. Also, while we're on the topic of fates, I do want to bring up how to do your best bets for them. Go to the highest level zone you can where the fate enemies drop. This applies also to the Havensward fates for the second step of Relic, depending on the way you want to look at it. Go to the area where you can do the highest level fates, preferably ones where you can get synced, where when you get synced down to do the fate, you're still a higher level than the max level of that expansion. So, 71 plus or 70 plus for the Stormblood zones and 60 plus for the Havensward zones. This is going to, because when you sink down, your stats is going to come from like Shire or Skaven gear equivalencies. So you're going to have a lot higher stats than the fates were created with in mind. So I do have a whole video talking about level syncing. I would recommend you go watch that if you want to know more. But that's going to be your best way to do them reliably fast. So the two zones I used was locks for the Girabania, and like I said, when the hotfix dropped, I got all of I was missing about 4 or 5 memories. I got all of them within an hour, That's pretty good as far as I'm concerned. And then, so the problem I had was with the Far East. For the longest time, I thought the hotfix was bugged, and it just they weren't dropping, because I did, like I said, I did about 30 or so fates without a single drop, and then they started dropping, and I completed it doing the fates. But so which zone I use for that is Yorkshire, and if you're doing Yorkshire, you need to do the you want to do the top area. So the map's kind of nicely divided between a top and a bottom area. You want to do the top area because that's where the higher level ones that allow you to be level 70 plus in there. The other zone you can do if you want to do it with level 70 plus, where you got the most, so you're going to get a massive boost over the enemies, is the Azim step, and in there you want to do the left side primarily. But again, that is that's primarily if you're going to solo them, because soloing fates, that's what you want to take every advantage you can. Obviously, if you want to summon your Chocobo to get XP on them, that's also great. If they've got DPS or tank, they're going to really help you. But in terms of if you're going around in like a party of 8 players, you'll be fine. Even a party of 2 or 3 players can do just about any fate. In terms of doing it as an alliance raid instead, again, I love the alliance raid series. I would personally do a mix. And I think that's what I'd recommend to everyone, so you don't get too stuck up on fates. Especially if you are having some really bad luck with your fates. You know, like I said, me with my 30, getting 30 and none of them dropping. I'm sure there'll be some people who do an hour of fate grinding, get none, and be like, what's the point? Break it up is what I would recommend. Always break things up if you are having that kind of issue. Anyway, on to the final step. Right then, so the final step is obviously your choice between 15 runs of DR or Palace of the Dead, floors 50 plus. Now, from what I understand and what I've seen online, the Palace of the Dead step is, if you're doing floors 50 to 100, it's a chance with, I believe, an increased chance the higher you get. So when you complete floor 60, it's like a fairly low chance of getting higher every level. At floor 100, you're guaranteed one after every 10 levels. And then with DR, it's just complete DR. Now, in me personally, I hate Palace of the Dead. I would not do it. I really dislike it. Might do it if there were 3 other people in Discord going, "Hey Xeno, come join us. We're gonna go and we're gonna go and try and clear. We're gonna go and try and do some runs of it." I would probably maybe join for that, but I'm not a big fan of Palace of the Dead. I think I've made that clear in previous videos as well. It's just really boring content as far as I'm concerned. But that's just my opinion on that. So I would do the DR runs. Obviously, looking to the future, when we're in Endwalker, when we're 16 expansions ahead in Daybreak, Palace of the Dead is going to be what we're doing. But right now, I haven't done any Palace of the Dead running, and I know that that's a bit, well, why haven't you done any runs of that, considering you're talking about it right now? Again, it's because I hate the content so much. I would rather, I just don't want to do it. In terms of speed, I think we're probably, again, looking at roughly the same pace. I would say DR, my opinion would be DR would be faster on the basis that a run of DR very rarely fails at the minute. Because you can still wipe and then continue on. Palace of the Dead, when you wipe, you have to start back at 50. You have to reset your chance, so to speak. At least that, as far as I would understand it. In terms of that, I would say DR is probably better right now. So the DR run in the footage was 45 minutes. So that's one every 45 minutes. In Palace of the Dead, you could possibly get more quicker. But that is entirely luck-based. It's very much the same with that whole fate thing. You could do an hour, you could do 2 hours of Palace of the Dead, get up to floor 100 and get no drops until floor 100. From then on in, you're obviously guaranteed. At that point, you might actually profit in terms of memories per hour. It's only 15 memories. Well, I say only. That's a lot. At 45 minutes, we're talking close to 12 hours. I should have done the math beforehand. Never mind. But we're still talking a pretty long time. And again, none of these steps I would recommend anyone does in a single day unless they are being hounded by a hardcore static that they want to join. Other than that, do not do this all in one day. You will probably go insane. But obviously, That's a, that's for other people. I really enjoy DR. I think the bosses in there are fun, but that's a bit off topic. In terms of this entire relic step, the whole 5.45 step, the first step I think is probably the best step because it is very much a lot easier to do outside of this content looking to the future. It's also improved Bajor in my opinion because everyone went, well, we're not doing Bajor for the relic step, we want to do Crystal Tower because you've made Bajor terrible. So everyone's doing Bajor, and now everyone's doing Bajor because they hotfixed it and it made things better. I don't, if making content better, I am okay with that. Even if it's content not everyone wants to do. Now, obviously, looking to the future, the 5.5 relic, when we get the final one where it becomes the Biss weapon, my golden girl of weapons, I don't know what we're going to get. I'm pretty sure we're getting a new zone, and obviously new zones will be part of that. But in terms of looking towards relics as a whole, how this might affect relics as a whole, definitely the idea of being able to do different things for the relic without having to just do one thing. With Stormblood, it was very much, I want to do my relic, and then you had Geralt, or whatever his name, not Geralt, that's Witcher, but you had the blacksmith guy basically just kicking you in there and saying, well, you're doing this now, have fun. And some people didn't have fun with that. That's not some kind of content people fun. Now, I can imagine there are people who don't like Alliance Raids and don't like Fates and don't like Bajor and don't like all of the content as a whole. They're probably few and far between, but I imagine there are people like that, and to those people I have to say, just do the relics you want if you really badly want the relics. Other than that, don't touch it. But in terms of allowing people to have a choice going forward, I think this is great, and I hope that future relics take from this. When we do our Endwalker relic weapons, there is a choice between multiple pieces of content. It's not very much like Eureka. It's not like the old relics. But yeah, so hopefully that's the way they look at it. You never know, we might be going into Endwalker and I'm now getting forced into doing only specific dungeons in a specific order. Hey, fun times. But in terms of that, that's all I really want to say on the relics so far, the current relic phases. Now, looking forward to the future of the channel. I know this is my first upload in about a year. That's due to the way the COVID has affected my living conditions and my ability to record. Hopefully I'll be able to start getting videos out more now. But looking forward to the future of the channel, I'm looking to add maybe 2 new scripts. Primarily, the first one I wanted to look at adding was looking at doing the relics after the current relic step. So it'd be walking through the A Realm Reborn, the Haven Sword, and the Stormblood relics for now, and obviously that would get updated with this relic. I would have a separate character for that hasn't done any relic step on it. But obviously, that's one of the series I wanted to add. The other one I wanted to do was looking at the game from a new player's perspective, with how things move forward, doing a kind of not quite a Let's Play series, but more of a beginner's help. Set between levels 1 and 15, sort of things you need to be keeping an eye out for, what you need to be thinking about while you're doing it, and so on and so forth. And probably once we get into expansions, that probably won't matter as much because of the way the game is very repetitive in terms of the way it works. It's not a very complicated game the higher you get up, other than rotations. But that's all I want to talk about. I've been Losino. Thanks for watching. Why do you care? It's only a fictional game.